a gentleman who played in the Windy City for several years. He was an 11-time All-Star in the ABA and NBA. He's the NBA's career leader in field goal percentage. He just got inducted to the Basketball Hall of Fame. Artis Gilmore. How you doing, Artis?
I'm doing very well. And you?
Good. Congratulations on the Hall of Fame. What took so long?
That was my question to you. What took so long?
I don't know. These voters, they
must have been doing it according to height, starting with the shortest. That's the only reason I can come up with.
Right. Absolutely. I assume that was the reason they made that decision.
Now, does it get better having had that long wait as opposed to if it had happened, 15 years ago or something like that? Do you appreciate it more?
Oh, absolutely. It is a really special time. Certainly, one thought is I would have really enjoyed, my parents being able to sit there and experience this, but, they're not here. They're above looking at it, but it is a great time right now and a great moment for me to enjoy this period of time in my life.
Do you get to pick which team's jersey you wear, or is it just a generic thing when you go in the Basketball Hall of Fame?
No, I don't. I'm not sure the process, but I think what's going to be important is to allow somebody I might do a contest. No, I'm not sure how that process works.
Now, you started off in Chipley, Florida, a very small town, worked your way up to Jacksonville University, and I assume that was a big transition. And
yes, it was.
And then you go to the Kentucky Colonels, and I assume that's an even bigger transition. What was that like?
Well, it was pretty special, pretty incredible. Being able to go from, of course, from the Kentucky Colonels into the NBA. That was, you go from, the fact is, the very little small crowds. I remember the Dallas Chaparrals before they moved to San Antonio. It was, very few people that actually was out watching the ball game.
Kind of like the Chicago Stadium when you play with the Bulls. That place was pretty much empty, wasn't it?
Well, except for when we played some of the teams. It was a little surprising that, that we had fewer fans on different occasions.
What was it like? Okay, you're in the pros, you're in Kentucky for, 71 to 76, and then you come to Chicago, which is a much, much larger market. What was that like?
Oh, that was a really coming to Chicago was pretty special. No, certainly the culture and everything was totally different, considering in comparison to Louisville. But I just thoroughly enjoyed the growth, and just certainly being in Chicago and the people, the fans, were just really special and very supportive.
I don't understand today's game with the center position. Back in the day, you needed a dominant center to win a championship. Nowadays, it seems like they just stick anybody at center, and these teams are winning it, which I don't get. What happened with the center position?
That's not true. You look back over the years, there has only been a very handful of dominant centers that's been able to win championships. But you look back, they've, Jack Sigmund was sort of a power forward. Elvin Hayes was a power forward with the Bullets, and you look at and of course you look at Willis Reed was not really a center; he was a power forward, and of course Dave Cowens initially started off. He was a kind of a power forward, and of course later on moved to that center position. But if you look at it really, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, probably Wilt Chamberlain, there's only a handful of guys that was 7 feet tall and played the center position to the point that, are very successful there.
You have Shaquille O'Neal. Of course, he had
Well, yeah, that's another era, another time.
You had Kobe Bryant alongside.
Yeah, but that's true as well. I mean, all great centers have had great people on the side, forward or guard. And you go back to even 75 with Golden State. Rick Barry was a forward, and that was just a forward team. And the guys George Johnson and Clifford Ray played the combination, kind of a center position, but not truly a center. Clifford Ray's about 6'8".
What about Nate Thurman? He wasn't that big.
Huh?
Nate Thurman wasn't that big.
Well, Nate was not there that year they won it. Not with Golden State. Yeah. He had, I think he got traded to Chicago, perhaps.
Yeah. And nowadays, you look at a guy like LeBron James, 20, 25 years ago, they probably would have had him at center. And you look at a guy like Kevin Durant, he's out shooting three-pointers. If Artis Gilmore came along today, they'd probably have you at point guard.
That sounds good, but certainly the game has evolved and changed. It is different from what it was early years.
Artis, who are you rooting for in the Bulls Heat series?
Oh, I mean, I'm a native Floridian. I pull for Florida, but I love the Bulls. My heart is with the Bulls. I love to see them can have success. And I knew they were struggling last night. They were going to have some problems last night.
Now, during your career, you made the all-defensive team on more than one occasion. Would you have enjoyed playing for a coach like Tom Thibodeau, who is defense-oriented?
Really good. Yeah, absolutely.
What is it about playing defense that appeals to a player? Some players just have no desire whatsoever to play defense. All they do is say, give me the ball when we have it on offense. Does it take a certain mindset?
Well, it does. I mean, and if you have to think in terms of doing things within the framework in order to be successful as a team, and that's what's important.
You were teammates with Rush Street Reggie Theus. What was it like playing with Reggie?
Well, Reggie was a very, very talented guy, really outstanding athlete, but sometimes, it was difficult to get everybody to buy into the same thought and in order to think of the same level of being a team, working as a team effort. And so, Reggie was no question, an extraordinary talent.
I mean, you had 24,941 career points. A former teammate of yours, though, had 27,000 career points, which is fifth on the all-time list. Dan Islow. How you doing, Dan?
I would have had more if Artis would have passed it to me once in a while.
No, it was his colleague, Louis Dampier. Louis, when Dan and I, well, hello, Dan. Sir, how are you?
I'm great, Artis. And let me congratulate you on your Hall of Fame induction. Long overdue.
Well, sir, I really appreciate that. Certainly, I think back at the time, and we had so much success together and fun and friends. We just developed an incredible relationship that we had together, and certainly winning that championship helped an awful lot as well.
How did you only win one championship with that? I mean, with you at power forward, Dan, and Artis at center, you guys should have won every game.
You're exactly right. And 1 year we almost did. I think it was my second year, Artis's rookie year. We went the ABA played 84 games. We went 68-16. And you're exactly right. We should have won. We should have won at least 3 ABA championships, but that's the way it worked out.
It was the coaching, right?
Yeah, we can blame it on the coaching until our championship. That's when we were fortunate. We were all fortunate enough that John Y. Brown hired Hubie Brown to coach that team, and I really do believe that's why we won the championship.
Artis, what was Hubie like as a coach?
Well, he's no question about extraordinary, knowledgeable individual. I've always said if there was a person who had walked into the game, and the way he explains the game, he's just a superb teacher as well as a great coach. And if he was just, if you were an individual and had no knowledge of the game, and you needed a person to help you understand and guide you in that particular area, there wouldn't be any better person to be able to do that than Hubie Brown.
Who had better hair, Hubie or you, Artis?
Repeat, please.
Who had better hair, Hubie or you?
Somehow that question, I didn't get that again. Please repeat that.
Who had a better hairdo, you or Hubie back in the day?
Oh, hairdo. Okay, the best hairdo. Okay. No, that was, we always put that in somebody else's hand. I would say probably Julius Erving or Darnell Hillman, one of those individuals.
They both had afros. Artis's was just a lot bigger than Hubie's.
That ABA, I mean, look at the players who played in the league. You had Rick Barry. You guys are absolutely loaded. I mean,
Dr. J.
If Dr. J would have played in the NBA instead of the ABA, I think his records would have been even bigger.
Well, I think you're exactly right, because remember when the merger took place and Julius went to Philadelphia, he was joining a team that already had a couple of other big stars, and I really do believe that he tempered his game somewhat to fit into that situation.
Dan, who are these kids screaming in the background?
That's not me.
Oh, that's Artis' kids?
My kids are long gone. You talk to the A Train about that.
Yeah, no, those are not my kids.
Okay, maybe they're not Arnold Schwarzenegger's kids, are they?
Oh, wow, that's big.
So Dan, what was it like going from Batavia, Illinois, little tiny town outside Chicago, to one of the great college basketball powerhouses at Kentucky?
It was terrific. I was very fortunate at Batavia that I had a coach in Don Vanderschnick who took a special interest and worked with me and developed me into a player that was deemed worthy enough to go to the University of Kentucky. And it was kind of a compromise. I wanted to go to Wisconsin, and my mom and dad wanted me to go to Northwestern, and I wound up at Kentucky as a compromise between those two schools. And of course, that was the best thing that I ever did.
Artis, we're going to let you go. I know you got some other things you got to work on right now, but thank you again for coming on, Artis.
And congratulations again.
Well, thank you very much. And one question, Dan, are you going to make it in June, the middle of June, to that location?
I'm not going to make it. Not going to make that one, but I will be in Springfield, Massachusetts when you're inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Well, I look forward to seeing you, big guy, and thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
Okay, take care.
Very well. Bye-bye.